Hey Stoic soul, tonight you are not simply scrolling, you're searching for meaning beneath the noise, awake but exhausted, restless with the ache of being born different in a world that worships sameness. You feel the crackle beneath your skin, the strange urge to break routine, the uneasy clarity that you are not here for comfort. You are here to remember, to awaken. But no one told you the side effects. No one warned you that spiritual awakening does not feel like fairy lights and soft music. It feels like a storm quieting inside your bones, like calm that is almost violent. Breathe. Today, we unveil the hidden costs and the iron gifts, the 9 side effects of awakening, and why chosen ones like you must learn them before you try to find your peace in this world. You wake up with the grit of old beliefs still stuck in your teeth. What once consoled you now feels like sandpaper. You look at your life and see the scaffolding of borrowed truths. Dreams sold by the world, standards written by strangers. Awakening doesn't feel like an upgrade. It feels like a demolition. The walls of your former self tremble. The script dissolves. Suddenly, nothing that defined you makes sense anymore. This is not chaos. It's the making of room for what is true. It started innocently, didn't it? You bought the stories handed to you, stockpiled them like boxes in an attic labeled important. A good career, a sensible haircut. Liking jazz because someone once said it was sophisticated. When did you first agree that being perpetually busy was the mark of an accomplished life? Or that your value depends on whether your neighbour's Wi-Fi password is jealous of yours? The old stories are sticky, like the residue after you peel off a label. You scrub and scrub, but the ghost of the adhesive remains, clinging on. Remember the rules you adopted without question. Stand straight. Smile when you'd rather sigh. Pretend you have a 5-year plan the next time someone in HR corners you at the water cooler. You've gathered these stories, pasted them together like papier-mâché armor, trying to fit the template, keeping your inner weirdness safely wrapped up. But Stoicism nudges you in an ungentle way. Are you actually okay? Or have you just gotten really good at pretending? And so, as the fiction unravels stitches by stitch, there's this awkward, existential draft in the air, cold but honest. It's not a grand collapse. There are no dramatic explosions, no orchestral soundtrack swelling underneath. Instead, the old stories fall apart like IKEA furniture being moved for the 3rd time. A sudden creak, then a wobble, then the realization you've been sitting on something that never quite fit together in the first place. The urge to panic bubbles up. What will you fill the space with now that the old scaffolding has collapsed? But the Stoics would remind you, nature abhors a vacuum, but your soul needs one to breathe. Lie back and picture your mind as a library filled with crumbling books. Some titles smell musty, others have never truly been yours. How to win friends and influence people who don't even like you. Maybe it's time to finally give that one away. As you wander these mental stacks, you find battered volumes whispering, if only you tried harder, then you'd be enough. Drop them gently in the recycling bin of your consciousness. Let the shelves creak in relief. At first, it feels like loss. The stories you drop are heavy. You grieve their familiarity, even as you recognize their flaws. There's comfort in old dogmas, even the mismatched ones. But as Marcus Aurelius would say, what stands in the way becomes the way, and the ruins of expectation are fertile soil for your own story to sprout. The unsettling emptiness isn't a void, but a garden bed. You can almost hear the universe whispering, okay, now what do you want to believe? Your internal narrator, once so sure and smug, stammers now, unsure what to say. The laugh track is gone. The opinions of others echo less loudly, their script losing its power. You notice more of what you actually feel when nobody's watching. The collapse doesn't make you less. It brings you closer to your raw, unedited self. The dust settles where certainty used to live. In this fresh silence, there's space, and maybe just a sliver of excitement. After all, demolition is only the first act of reconstruction, and nothing soothes quite like the permission, at long last, to tell your own story, even if the opening chapter is, "I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm here." Suddenly your phone grows heavier, but your contact list thinner. You wonder why even surrounded, you feel alone. The people you once called home no longer know your language. The loneliness of awakening is the silence that comes after the fireworks, awkward, echoing, honest. But in this silence, dignity is born. It strikes, suddenly and quietly, like the Wi-Fi dropping out just as you're about to win an argument online. There, in the void, the world continues to party in pixels, memes, and group chats, from which you now feel distinctly exiled. Emojis don't land the same. The troop of familiar faces transforms into a parade of mouths moving, their words as foreign as encrypted passwords. You scroll your messages, seeking signs of life. "Hey," you text, but even your autocorrect seems unsure. This isn't the loneliness of Saturday nights spent at home while everyone else posts blurry photos from bars. This is existential. A philosophical iceberg that cracks your ship in half. You're stranded on a raft of realization. Much of what held you together with others was invisible twine, shared delusions, unspoken scripts. Now you see things you can't unsee. Did Steve always talk about the stock market this much? Has Helen been quoting horoscopes for years, and you nodded along like a bobblehead? You make the mistake of reaching out, hoping they'll notice the shift in your voice. Instead, they recommend group therapy, a different hairstyle, maybe yoga. It's clear, awakening has side effects, and you can't sleep them off. The first is this deep, echoing solitude, the kind that makes you talk to your plants with new fervor. Your snake plant remains unmoved, stoic perfect. The ancient Stoics, champions of philosophical do not disturb mode, would tilt their heads in recognition. Loneliness is not a glitch. It is a feature, nature's way of testing whether you can bear to converse with the only permanent companion you'll have, yourself. Seneca, that bearded sage of ancient Inbox Zero, would write, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." It's a polite Roman way to say, stop doom scrolling. Existential dread won't refresh with new comments after midnight. You begin to savor the silence between your own thoughts. At sea, triumphs. First, it's as gentle as trying to meditate while your upstairs neighbor taps out a flamenco routine in steel-toed boots. But with practice, it transforms. There is space now for imagination. Maybe the universe is less concerned about the group chat than you are. Maybe, in the apparent desert of loneliness, dignity blooms. Not the loud kind, but the dignified act of facing your own reflection and saying, "Yes, I see you." No filters. From this distance, you recognize the urge to fill every silence as the legacy of unconsidered living. You realize a lot of daily life is spent ducking the self, camouflaging in crowds, hiding behind LOLs and likes. Now, stripped bare, you meet yourself on the deserted virtual highway at 3 a.m. Nothing but headlights, old playlists, and a gratitude for not having to pretend you like networking events. The world, it seems, moves on without your constant participation. Simultaneously, something strange and precious is restored. Your own voice. At first, it scratches. weak from underuse. But in that solitude, you remember how to laugh at your own jokes. You rediscover the exquisite awkwardness of dancing alone, the luxury of rearranging your bookshelf in peace, and the gentle thrill of saying no thanks, out loud, to nobody in particular. This loneliness, raw and honest, asks you to look for your people, but it suggests you start with the most difficult acquaintance, yourself. It's the long walk home after the lights shut off, the sobering hush after spectacle. Here, with old illusions gone, dignity steps forward, quietly, with bare feet and unshakable poise. The world grows quieter, but your inner resonance grows stronger, and in a way, you realize you've never been less alone. You once feared being alone, but now you seek it like water after salt. Noisy places drain you. Small talk becomes agony. In solitude, you're not running from the world. You're reclaiming your center. The old you chased crowds. The awakened you courts quiet. Once upon a time, you were a professional crowd surfer, not on waves of music or people, but on relentless obligations and the emotional riptide of group chats. But somewhere between just one more networking event and truly pondering the philosophy of the all-you-can-eat buffet, something shifted. Stoicism whispered in your ear, "Why do you suffer for acceptance from others when your greatest company is waiting within?" Suddenly, Saturday nights with only your own thoughts and possibly a well-defended delivery pizza became not just acceptable, but sacred ritual. Your friends stare when you announce, without shame, that your Friday night is booked with me, myself, and an aggressively scented candle. No itinerary except gentle introspection and absolutely zero pants. You wander your apartment, silent, except for the occasional existential sigh or the soft clink of your mug. This is not loneliness. This is the spa day for your psyche, the recalibration center where mental clutter is filtered like spam email. Marcus Aurelius would approve. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Turns out, the emperor is right, especially if you switch his toga for sweatpants. Modern society isn't built for aloneness. A lone diner is asked, "Are you waiting for someone?" As if eating solo is the social equivalent of public urination. But you raise your single fork in proud rebellion. In solitude, you savor each bite, listen to your own nervous system untwist, and realize that the world doesn't actually implode if nobody texts you for 24 hours. Your Instagram goes dormant. Your group chat gives you a concerned you alive ping. You begin to see that these little silences, once terrifying, are now electric with possibility. You have time to stare out the window, pluck philosophical wisdom from drifting clouds, and possibly judge the neighbor's questionable topiary choices. You're alone, but you are not lonely. Solitude, it turns out, is the ultimate personal trainer for the soul. Sure, at first it hurts, like a mental burpee for your attachment issues. But eventually, your inner monologue stops sounding like a panicked radio DJ, and more like a calm, possibly British narrator. You realize that most of your fears were just echoes bouncing around a too noisy room. With the volume lowered, your real thoughts emerge. The ones that aren't retweets or scripted responses. It's not misanthropy. You don't despise humanity. You just honor your own bandwidth. You recognize you can like people and also need a protective border of introvert quarantine tape. The Stoics knew this too. You can love the world deeply and still need to go on a mental sabbatical. So, you scroll past invites to mandatory fun, kindly decline, and instead accept the RSVP to reconnect with your own neglected self. Each hour alone becomes a kind of spiritual composting. Old anxieties break down, fertilizing the quiet confidence that grows within you. No need to impress, to adjust, to contort yourself to fit the shape of a group. In solitude, you reclaim the delicious weirdness of your own brain, the stuff you water down in crowds. So if the urge to hermit strikes, honor it. Blame the Stoics, if you like. Call it philosophical alone time and put it on your calendar in faux Latin, if that helps. After all, the ultimate Stoic lesson is that the universe outside is rowdy, but inside, you are the world's most exclusive, tranquil little speakeasy. Password, introspection, coat check, existential baggage. You notice it suddenly. The urge to bend, to explain, to shrink for others' comfort. Gone. You're done with approval as currency. You stop apologizing for being yourself. Now, peace no longer requires a round of applause from anyone but you. It's the tiniest funeral with no flowers and definitely no potato salad. The people pleaser in you sighs, evaporates, and becomes one of those ghostly figures in a cautionary tale told exclusively at office parties. You used to carry that urge like a badge with glitter and the phrase, "Hey, am I bothering you?" etched onto it. But you realize you don't even own a badge. You barely own matching socks. And that's okay. Suddenly, you're walking into rooms, not to make yourself invisible, but just to exist, comfortably, anchored by the solid, satisfying weight of good enough. If someone isn't dazzled by your presence, that's their optometrist's problem, not yours. You quietly retire from the exhausting role of performing tiny emotional gymnastics, just to make everyone else comfortable. The only splits you do now are at the checkout line when the self-checkout freezes. And even then, you're not dancing for applause. You notice yourself ordering coffee with confidence. Double shot, no sugar, no apology for insisting that oat milk isn't a crime. Silences in conversations become less about ticking time bombs of awkwardness and more about inviting peace into the chat. You exchange that old compulsion to fill the silence with something useful, meaningful, or desperately witty for the gentle act of just being. And you discover that breathing is much easier when you're not holding your breath, waiting for approval. Letting go of pleasing doesn't make you callous or cold. It makes you real. It makes your yes and no words with weight and intention, not watered down versions of what you think someone else wants to hear. You don't need to wrap your real feelings in bubble wrap or styrofoam peanuts anymore. If someone disagrees with you, marvelous. Earth didn't shatter. Your dentist appointment is still at 3 p.m. and the dog still needs a walk. There are times when the ghosts of pleasing past pay you a visit. Maybe someone sighs dramatically when you don't leap to solve their problem, or maybe you give an opinion at dinner and the table gets quiet. For a moment, your old instincts flicker. Should you backpedal? Should you soften? But you remember, your self-worth isn't on loan from others anymore. You can't misplace it in someone else's emotional backpack. You begin to notice that the people around you adapt too. The ones who may have relied on your willingness to shrink start figuring out their own dimensions. Some may even step back, the way houseplants lean away from a window when the light is too direct. Others get curious. They wonder what secret ingredient you've added to your life. Spoiler alert, it's boundaries. Boundaries, and maybe magnesium. Little by little, there's space for self-respect to root and grow. You're no longer the emotional barista of the group, whipping up whatever blend makes everyone feel better at your own expense. Instead, you serve fewer cups, but each one is genuine. You realize with a kind of delighted shock that you are worthy of love, welcome, and rest all along. Accepting yourself, you discover, is the ultimate offering. A standing ovation with exactly one person in the crowd, and that's enough. Awakening is not blind optimism, it is ruthless sight. You see everything. The beautiful, the ugly, the twisted motives beneath polite words. This clarity hurts, but it is the scalpel that removes rot from your soul. Now, you walk in daylight, unblinded. Let's not sugarcoat it. Realizing the actual state of things can feel like stepping in a puddle with socks on. Only this time, it's the puddle of reality, and your socks are made of rose-tinted illusions. The moment you see someone's hidden agenda poking through their compliment about your haircut, it stings. But hey, at least now you know, it really was a mistake to ask for bangs. Stoic clarity doesn't offer cozy reassurance. It just flicks on the light, and there you are, in all your undeniable, unfiltered humanity. Why is the truth so sharp? Because, like lemon juice on a paper cut, it finds the places where you're raw. The Stoics warned that most suffering comes not from the world, but from our refusal to accept the world. Clarity is the moment you stop wrestling the facts. It's physically painful sometimes. The ego flinches, as if you've thrown freezing water in its face. But the water is clean, and after you gasp, you see every blemish, wrinkle, and possibility. Suddenly, nobody, not even you, gets away with their comforting little lies. How liberating, how terrifying. Notice how liberating and terrifying can exist side by side. This is the emotional roller coaster of clarity. Hands in the air, hair frizzing out, questioning your life choices, yet weirdly exhilarated. What was once a monster under the bed is now a dust bunny and a pizza crust you should have thrown out. You're no longer haunted by vague dreads. You just have to clean. It gets weirder. When you truly see the world, you start seeing yourself. Not the persona you role-play at dinner parties, but the unvarnished, slightly awkward you under all the practiced grins and social scripts. Sometimes, Stoic clarity is hearing your own thoughts for the first time and realizing you've been giving yourself Yelp reviews the entire day. 3 stars. Woke up late. Forgot pants again. Existential dread at noon. Would not recommend. But clarity is not cruelty. The truth is firm, not savage. It says, here is what is. You're afraid. But also, you are free to choose your next move. The pain comes from brushing away illusions, but underneath lies actual agency. The more illusions you give up, the less the world can run you in circles. That urge to placate, to sugarcoat, to wrap yourself in denial. It loses its hold. Have you ever tried to assemble IKEA furniture without the instructions? Facing reality without Stoic clarity is kind of like that. You're left with extra screws and a vague feeling that the bookshelf is judging you. Embracing painful truth is finally digging out the manual, squinting at the weird diagrams, and admitting to yourself that you accidentally built a shoe rack. There's shame, sure, but also relief. At least now you know what to do next. Of course there's a catch. Most people don't want the surgical light. They prefer mood lighting, soft, flattering, and thoroughly delusional. If you walk around with your eyes wide open, prepare for a lot of wincing from other people. But remember, your job is not to wrestle others into submission with truth bombs. That's just bad manners and bad stoicism. Your job is simply to see, honestly, what is. This painful clarity is the start, not the end. It's the quiet after the fire drill, when you count the survivors and start sweeping up the ashes. It's cold, yes. It's sobering. But at least finally you know you're standing on solid ground, not a cloud of comforting fog. The world will keep spinning. Lies will still be told. Pizza crusts will still hide under beds. But you're awake, and that's enough. Comfort means nothing now if it comes without meaning. You can no longer numb yourself with distractions. Your soul demands real work, real service, real impact. The ordinary will never satisfy you again. Mediocrity dissolves the moment your spirit awakens to its task. You will try, at first, to ignore this cosmic tug. You'll scroll your phone even though it leaves you hollow. You'll binge watch, doom scroll, snack, nap for the sake of napping, doing everything to muffle that strange pressure building beneath your ribs. But it follows you like a wise old owl, staring pointedly from the bookshelf, blinking as if to whisper, "You see me, so what are you waiting for?" You used to chase leisure like a coupon clipper in a dollar store. A little more comfort, a few more treats, a soft blankie for your anxious thoughts. But then, one quiet afternoon, maybe between the third and fourth episode of whatever, it dawned on you. None of it tasted right. Pleasure without purpose becomes stale chewing gum. No matter how hard you chew, the flavor fades until you're left with just exhaustion and a vague sense you're betraying something sacred. You start to crave tasks worthy of your potential, not just dopamine hits and soft pants. This is the strange blessing of awakening. You realize you're meant for more than being a highly decorated piece of couch decor. Even your laziness gets existential. Now, every comfort cries out for context. The Stoics would have called this your demon or guiding spirit. Marcus Aurelius said, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." Turns out, your cosmic to-do list is the original morning alarm. Sorry, snooze button, but don't panic. Finding purpose isn't as ominous as it sounds. It doesn't require you to climb Everest or invent the next viral app. Often, it's just committing with sincerity to something right-sized for your soul. A good laugh with a friend, helping a neighbor, finishing that project that's been festering in your inbox, like an uninvited guest at a dinner party. The small acts you do with intention begin to stitch together a life that feels authentic, stitched with the golden thread of meaning. And yet, people around you may question your new gusto. They'll blink as you politely step away from numbing routines. They'll raise a skeptical eyebrow when you start volunteering, drop shallow distractions, or finally launch that questionable Etsy store selling motivational bookmarks for goldfish. Relax, they say, as if dialing down your soul's radio will make the static and aching go away. But inside, you've heard the call, and you can't unhear it. Don't bother trying to explain yourself. Purpose is its own justification, and only those who felt it recognize its signature. The philosopher Seneca said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Meaningless busyness is endless. Meaningful direction, even if riddled with challenges and awkward first tries, feels strangely peaceful. A bad day spent building a purpose is still better than a dozen comfortable but empty ones. Even setbacks become part of the adventure. As you move through your days, you'll find that meaning isn't delivered in one grand Amazon package, tied up with a bow and same-day shipping. It comes in fragments, inside morning routines, conversations, creative messes, and honest work. You'll make mistakes, but, delightfully, they'll actually matter. Your failures will carry the sweet aroma of something attempted, rather than the stale odor of regret from a life never started. This is the truth about purpose. When you answer its pull, everything ordinary acquires a secret shimmer. Doing the dishes, calling your mother, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Each act, when connected to the pulse of meaning, becomes a kind of quiet revolution. Purpose rearranges the furniture of your life. It might even have you swapping your throw pillows for a notebook and pen. Tonight, as you let your tired mind drift off, remember this. The pull you feel is your birthright, not a burden. The world whispers for you to wake up, not to prove your worth, but to live it. And tomorrow, when comfort beckons without meaning, listen for the purpose beneath the noise. It is there, patiently waiting, persistent as ever, and slightly more powerful than your favorite pair of sweatpants. Awakening is not a gentle rain. It's wild weather. Old wounds rise for their last battle. Tears come unannounced. Laughter feels like prophecy. Every emotion amps to full volume, until you learn to ride the storm with calm, eyes open, heart steady. Picture yourself in the world's strangest NASCAR race, but instead of cars, every competitor is at different emotions swerving around your mind's track. Anxiety is revving its engine, honking its horn, throwing banana peels like it's played too much Mario Kart. Joy is zipping by in a toddler's tricycle, waving pom-poms and ignoring all traffic rules. Sadness lumbers along in a bumper car filed with existential dread, while anger keeps cutting everyone off, like it's trying to earn a spot on a demolition derby team. Welcome to the emotional tire fire, where every lap seems to ignite a new patch of flaming rubber. Sometimes people think spiritual awakening means finally achieving the emotional true north of a meditation app mascot. Instead, what you get feels more like left your mental kitchen unattended, and now the stove is fully on fire. The smoke alarm's yelling, and someone's inexplicably rearranged all your silverware. Congratulations, enlightenment. It's less floating serenely and more capturing wild, yowling kittens with oven mitts. And amidst the mayhem, your Stoic ancestors, sipping their metaphorical chamomile tea, raising a non-judgmental eyebrow at your emotional circus. Ah, so you're also on fire. Good. Good. Have you tried acceptance? Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, none of them managed to avoid the tire fire. They just learned to roast marshmallows over it, journal their feelings, and remember the flames don't define the road. Every feeling, even the ones you wish had zoomed someone else this evening, is neither friend nor enemy. It's material. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things." So, the bad news, you're going to feel everything. The good news, you don't have to believe the emotional arsonist sprinting through your nervous system, shouting that this is the end of the world. Imagine grief arriving like a toddler in a tutu, demanding all the attention in the room, throwing confetti made of old disappointments, or envy, slinking in as an awkward party guest whispering you're not quite enough, always compared, never chosen. Fear, the drama queen auditioning for a role in every possible disaster scenario, despite not having read even one page of the actual script. But you, armed with self-awareness, can simply nod politely, hand them snacks, and watch them tire themselves out. Your job isn't to extinguish the tire fire. It's understanding its purpose. It's burning up what you're ready to release, clearing space for new growth like a forest that needs the blaze to reset. These feelings are data, not destiny. Mood swings are just the wind picking up. Your stoic calm is the unflappable umbrella that's fine even if it flips inside out. Let yourself feel without labeling anything wrong. That's how you eventually laugh at the absurdity. How angry you got at your keys for hiding. How you cried over a dog food commercial. How you were sure melancholy would build a summer home in your chest. Eventually, you realize emotional intensity is not a bug. It's a feature. You're built for this, forged in the fire, not melted by it. So next time the flames rise, picture your ego in a tiny, ineffective firefighter hat, running around in circles, and smile softly. Emotional tire fires are part of every soul's pit stop. The point isn't to put them out, just to drive through, headlights steady, windows down, breathing in all you've survived. Suddenly, your worth is not up for auction. You swing between caring deeply and releasing completely. You do your work for the love itself, not the applause at the end. Detachment is not coldness, it is freedom. Finally, you dare to live for virtue, not validation. This is when you find yourself sipping tepid coffee in the office kitchen, listening to someone explain why their cat needs gluten-free treats. And you realize you aren't desperate for this person to think you're clever, or funny, or the next best thing to sliced bread. You're free to just be, to nod, to make gentle sounds, to perhaps draw a smiley face in your coffee's foam and not care if anyone notices. Because, let's face it, the foam is probably long gone. But your inner peace persists. Let's be clear. Letting go of outcomes doesn't mean drifting through life with the enthusiasm of an office plant. No. You'll still fail spectacularly at things, like parallel parking on a busy street or trying to meditate while your neighbor practices the tuba at midnight. The point is, your sense of self doesn't panic or vanish when the result isn't what you'd hoped. You give your best, and the rest, the universe gets to sort it out. Your only job is to show up like a wise old tortoise, unhurried, undistracted, and surprisingly uninterested in tuba solos. What Stoics understood, and what your local philosopher barista probably tries to put on your latte foam, is that clinging to outcomes makes you a hostage to chaos. Yusbao, start tying your mood to things you can't possibly control, like the weather, or whether your meme went viral, or if Chad from accounting acknowledges your existence. Instead, you trade all that anxiety in for a sense of humor and a deep exhale. You realize that your only true domain is your response, your attitude, your effort. Suddenly, every day is less like running a high-stakes race and more like walking a dog with questionable bladder control. You try your best, pick up what you need to, and keep moving. You can laugh at your missteps and learn from your faceplants. You can enjoy the stroll. Because existence isn't a performance review. It's a process. Messy, silly, and when you let go, surprisingly beautiful. Detachment doesn't make you dull, passionless, or a background extra in your own life. It's the opposite. You become bolder. It takes guts to give your all when you know nothing guarantees applause. It takes real courage to invest in what's right when the crowd may toss tomatoes instead of roses. When your self-worth is no longer leased to the opinions of others, you unlock a new energy. Call it tranquility with a twist of mischief. So, you do the dishes, you ace the interview, you crash the interview, you get ghosted, you get a standing ovation from your dog for just existing. And it doesn't matter, not because you don't care, but because you care only about what actually belongs to you, your character, your choices, your peace. The noise of the world, that can be the soft static behind your meditation playlist. Practice this. Next time life serves you an outcome you didn't order, raise an eyebrow and serve back a little smile. Because you are not your latest win or loss. You are the unshakable core beneath it all, sipping your imaginary coffee, smiling at the absurdity and beauty of letting go. Welcome to freedom. After the fire, you are left with what cannot be taken. No label, no approval, no external win can give or take the center you have found. Confidence is your silent companion, not a shout, but a steady presence. Now, your power needs no witness. You walk through the ashes, metaphorical of course, unless you've been grilling tofu irresponsibly, and notice something new. Nobody's watching, and nobody cares. The pressure to perform, to look calm and competent, falls away because the crowd wandered off to scroll through other distractions. What is left is you, warm, breathing, possibly in questionable pajamas at 2 a.m., but resilient all the same. You might expect to feel hollow, but instead, you find a sort of unhurried humor. You survived, not because you were untouchable, but because ruin freed you from the burden of pretending. The worst has already happened. Your nightmares have done their laps, and, surprise, you are still here, sipping tea, scrolling cat videos, or just listening to the ambient hum of your own survival. You realize the true plot twist. You're immune to yesterday's disasters. Silence becomes your reward for endurance. Confidence now whispers instead of shouts. It does not campaign for votes or swipe for validation. It sits quietly in the space where old anxieties fizzled out, their fireworks spent. Maybe you lock the door and dance terribly to 90s playlists, because knowing no one's watching is freedom. If you ever worried you'd never measure up, the measuring tape just caught fire, and you shrugged. Strength isn't loud. Strong people don't always look like movie heroes. They might look like you after a bad haircut and a string of questionable decisions. Stoicism teaches that hardships aren't shameful, but essential. Your ruined plans are compost for growth, aroma, optional. You stop chasing a definition of success that needs applause, realizing the joke's on anyone who thought peace could be found in louder victories. It's in these ruins you start to understand the serenity of worn-out sweatpants and the luxury of unpolished honesty. You no longer bargain your worth for tokens of approval. If nobody texts back, you don't spiral. You order extra fries and call it a strategy. You face loss and embarrassment and all those existential plot holes. So what's another awkward moment in the grocery checkout, or a spilled coffee on your existential spreadsheet? There is tremendous peace in letting yourself be mediocre at some things, and extraordinary at simply persisting. Ruin taught you to aim your energy where it counts. Quiet, useful kindness toward yourself and others. Nothing about it is spectacular or Instagram-worthy, unless you count a meme about dogs in astronaut suits as spiritual enlightenment. Stoicism isn't about denying your feelings. It's about planting confidence so deeply in the scorched earth that even when storms return, it doesn't uproot. You keep going, dignified in your disaster, and a little amused by it all. If you find yourself laughing alone in the aftermath, congratulations. That quiet confidence has graduated from survival skill to superpower. Power that needs no audience, and happiness that needs no spotlight. You do not escape the world. You move through it with different eyes. You can sit among chaos and remain composed. You can walk through noise in silent dignity. The world is the same, but you, the chosen one, now return as both observer and participant, untouched at your core. You slide back into your life like an extremely calm, philosophical ninja. The morning alarms shriek, emails multiply overnight. The group chat is on fire with arguments about who double-dipped into the salsa. But your internal ocean remains undisturbed, not even a philosophical ripple. Shouting neighbours. You simply smile and mentally compose a thank you note to the Stoics for inventing the mute button, otherwise known as indifference. It's not about becoming a mythical stone statue, unmoved and bothersome to houseplants. You still feel. Your heart still thuds when life's plot twists arrive uninvited, like cats leaping onto the forbidden kitchen counter. But as a Stoic with a modern touch, you've acquired a quiet sort of superpower, the ability to respond without getting swept away. Your shopping cart collides with another's in the overcrowded supermarket of existence. Did nerves fray or tempers flare? Not this time. You're too busy admiring your own unshakable calm. Also, you remembered to bring your reusable bags, which is philosophically sound and saves turtles. Your friends might gossip that you're the same, blissfully unaware that your spirit has undergone a quiet cosmic reboot. You still laugh at their jokes, order fries at midnight, and lose socks to the laundry abyss. But inwardly, your awareness is sharper, sidestepping the old traps. Anxiety about what you don't control, chasing after fleeting praise, clinging to someone else's version of normal. Unchanged in their eyes, transformed in your own. You became the main character in your own saga, one with great hair and better emotional boundaries. Daily dilemmas arrive with their usual fanfare, surprise bills, existential phone notifications. Are you alive? The eternal conundrum of where to put your existential dread on Tuesday afternoons. But inner stability hums beneath. You let people vent, honk, criticize. The world can test you with its zaniest plot twists, and you, oh spaghetti of destiny, remain untangled and wide awake. Underneath the chaos, you are stiller than a cat pretending it didn't just break the lamp. Occasionally, others will look at you as if you've hidden a cheat code somewhere. They watch you not reacting, not spiraling, not spontaneously combusting from the sheer absurdity of human life. How, they wonder, their eyes quietly pleading. Sometimes you smile. Sometimes you say nothing. Most of the time, you're just busy savoring the ridiculously ordinary beauty of a cup of tea, or the way sunlight lands on your old sneakers, delighted by simplicity itself. It becomes clear, the return to the world is not a return as a conqueror, but as a playful observer and loving participant. You carry an inner dignified silence, like a pocket-sized sanctuary no one can invade. You listen more, speak less, and when you do speak, the words carry the weightless weight of someone who's seen many storms and started enjoying the rain. Pause here, warrior. Let the truth settle not just in your mind, but under your skin. Awakening is not a one-time lightning strike. It is a slow, honest burning away of what never belonged. The side effects are not punishments, but initiations reserved for the rare few who choose to see, to feel, to live aware. Do not fear your loneliness. It is your honor. Do not mourn the loss of comfort. It is the ground for real strength. Each chaos, each wave of emotion, is simply the training ground for a self so steady it cannot be owned. Tonight, breathe. Remember, power is quiet, dignity is invisible, and the awakened do not seek permission to exist. You already are the proof. Walk quietly. Walk free. Pause here, warrior. Let the truth settle not just in your mind, but under your skin. Awakening is not a one-time lightning strike. It is a slow, honest burning away of what never belonged. The side effects are not punishments, but initiations reserved for the rare few who choose to see, to feel, to live aware. Do not fear your loneliness. It is your honor. Do not mourn the loss of comfort. It is the ground for real strength. Each chaos, each wave of emotion, is simply the training ground for a self so steady it cannot be owned. Tonight, breathe. Remember, power is quiet. Dignity is invisible. And the awakened do not seek permission to exist. You already are the proof. Walk quietly. Walk free.